in front just before half-time, and it was back to level, and then again Geelong went ahead early in the third, but we've started traditionally the next quarter with a terrible bounce, haven't we? And once again it's the case. And Hamish McIntosh is probably as good a story as there is out of the match, the way he's played tonight against his old team and up and running. Got the kids of Geelong pretty boisterous down there. And the ball out of bounds. Stevie J's always a sideshow amongst himself.
He's got a free kick here too, Stevie.
Yes, yeah. Let's see what he's got in mind. About a three-quarter kick. I was hoping that Mitch Duncan could fly. Mullet changes his mind midstream. Kicks it out of defensive 50. Rivers. Blitzarves serves it out. From Duncan to Mackie. The switch was quick, and unfortunately the ball just wobbled around in the air, which made it harder for Thurlow to take it and play on. And I think he just overcooked the kick slightly, and even though it looked like Murdoch was the one that slipped it, it just wasn't perfectly placed for him. And now North can run and gun. This is where they got better from about midway through the second quarter. Their run off half back has cut up the Cats a bit in transition, and it might be a bit of a concern. Like, good tackle from Duncan, didn't quite complete the job, but he certainly has held them up in their tracks. And the turnover comes. Rivers intercepting, taking the mark, and getting it off to Taylor Hunt. It looks like he's going to play a role as that short, small defender. Guthrie's taken the midfield run with his role. Hanson switching it out wide and finds Wells.
So Wells on the outer wing nearly got himself into trouble. Got the ball eventually back to Hanson, who some pretty good vision there off the left. Found Cunnington, who's been one of North's better players. Chipped down the line, and Gibson's got it about 65 metres out from goal. So started as the sub tonight. Gibson kicked the full forward, looking for Petrie, but well done. Blitzarves got back in the hole and took a good mark about 25 metres out from his own goal. So he's called to play on here. Thomas will try and close him down. Goes long in the end, looking out there for Murdoch again, but McKenzie, good roving from Big McIntosh, flicked it to Varco. The handball's got a little bit too much on it, and it'll come back through Wells. Handball out wide again to Gibson. Kick to half forward, that's a better ball. Oh, it's Harvey, but well done from Duncan, got a hand in. Harvey goes back, eventually the Cats with numbers. Murdoch, wobbly ball, looking there for Brown, who took a good strong mark. Just up from centre half back, and he chips it wide to end right.
He does, and he swings it out to McIntosh, who thunders the ball up to half forward. Here's Stevie J again. He's had a quick look over the shoulder. He says it's Zeeble. I'll take him on the left, try and kick a fluky, miraculous goal, and lucky to get a point. Just slipped inside Zeeble nicely, though. And now North are going to try and run at the full length. And the way they've been cutting through, they just might. Hanson, though, reverts back with the handball. Gibson has to really trust the skills. Taylor Hunt didn't quite get the defensive job done. In fact, Cunnington's able to take the mark, which was pretty remarkable under the circumstances. Feeds it back to Gibson once more from half-back. Got Wells running for him hard. Blitzarves will probably try and get the arm out. In fact, he doesn't have to. It's out of bounds on the full.
It's a disappointing ball there. Blitzarves will take the free kick at half-back for the Cats. So the Roos by just the 1 point, 9-8-62. Cats 9-7-61. Blitzarves, long ball looking for Hawkins, who's kicked three. Can't take the mark this time. Comes to Mullet, chips it wide to Del Santo. He looks onto this near side, he's got nothing, so he just has to stop and prop. And eventually goes sideways, and he finds McMahon. So many options here for the Roos to cut through the middle. So McMahon's going to have to go wide in the end, and long. Looking for Hanson, one-on-one with Enright, should be too big, and he did well. Hanson got in front and took a good mark in front of the interchange gates. So very good second half of last year. Lockie Hanson, a player that probably hasn't delivered on his potential so far, but he was very good towards the latter stages of last year. To Bastanak eventually, he goes back to McMillan, and we're still on the wing. So McMillan is called to play on. It kicks an absolute shocker towards half forward over the head of Del Santo. It might work for Cunnington. Off to Wood, who's been pretty impressive from 60. Top of the goal square, Taylor's there in front. Didn't quite take the mark. Might have got some interference. Or some good pressure from Lindsay Thomas. The umpire said it was too high on young Thurlow. Or actually on Blitzarves. And he'll take the free kick in the back pocket for the Cats.
Actually, I think Blitzarves played a good game.
He's played well.
Yeah, he played really well. And we discussed him earlier, and I think not only has he, like I said last year, not made too many mistakes, but you can see his positive things have probably grown. He's probably got a bit more confidence with what he can do.
Finding a bit more of the ball.
Jordan Murdoch. Lindsay Thomas asking the umpire when he can run in and get some pressure on.
There's a mismatch.
Yeah, slight mismatch. Big Tommy goes down and the curators get very nervous about the divot that's going to be left in the turf. Guthrie back into the middle to Stokes. I think the two coaches would be pretty much happy to call the game off about now, I reckon, wouldn't they? And just go, right, we've got no injuries.
Do you think the brothers might have a look across the boxes and
I think so.
Look at the watch?
I think that's possible. And they've had to put some good time into some players, and a couple of players who needed a hit out and find a bit of form have done that. Caddy has been close to best on ground. Goes short, finds Varco.
the brothers do sort of a next score wins type scenario.
Yeah, they can do a bit of that. Maybe Mrs. Scott can decide. Stevie J always looking for a free arm chop. Come on, ump. Again, heavily populated forward 50. Mitch Brown's another one. I think that mark he took before was a
strong one.
Real positive for him. Nahas. I'm not sure how high he actually got tackled there, but he did it well. Del Santo. What's your reading on Del Santo about what he can bring to North, Jules? Because I would say that he's not going to be the one that determines whether they finish 12th or 9th. I reckon he could be the difference in them finishing 6th and 3rd, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to have to play really well for him to actually have a big impact. But if they do play well, he can have a massive
That's right. He just takes a bit of the pressure off maybe of Wells, doesn't he? Maybe doesn't get the tag. That they have to look closely at Del Santo. And Brad Scott's definitely keen to play him off half-back. And they probably need another good user at half-back at the times. But
sounds like what Andrew Swallow was saying, that Nick would probably rather play on ball.
I think most blokes still keen on the midfield rather than half-back.
Yep. Well, Harry Taylor, fairly generous to Lindsay Thomas there. I don't think
that wouldn't have happened in round one.
Wanted to split him down the middle. He's going to try and hunt him down here, but Thomas pretty steady and kicked it beautifully. The goal umpire did not have to move his non-existent moustache. That's a goal. And North Melbourne lead by 7 now. 10-8-68 to 9-7-61. They finished well.
Yeah, home and away game. Lindsay Thomas might have been in some trouble there.
So I think, too, from a North point of view, watching tonight, it'd just be a little bit of a relief just to see that they can still do what they did last year in terms of their movement of the footy from half back. And it's been some of the youngsters have been okay, but I think Harvey's injection into the side this week didn't play last week, and the run they've got out of Wells, who's sort of come to life in the second half, as well as their other regulars, and a smattering of their youngsters would be pleasing for them.
Yeah, it's been a good night from them. They'd have to start favourite in that game against Essendon in round one. They've got a few problems, the Bombers, with some player availability, and they haven't been great over the pre-season. So, but always a great game when North Melbourne plays Essendon.
No doubt.
So just turn it over here through Zeeble, or a little kick out looking for big Dawson Simpson. Couldn't quite get there, but he's got some support through Stokes.
Don't forget that game, the 21st of March at Etihad Stadium for North fans. Tickets go to the website or ticketmaster.com.au.
Yeah, North Melbourne home game, so all North Melbourne fans get there. And a big night too. Dustin Fletcher breaks the Essendon record that night, so it's a big game overall. As the Cats go to full forward, beautifully grabbed by Johnson, left foot snap. He had two to beat. He did it beautifully, Stevie J.
And he's coming up the ground too, just to make sure that the applause continues.
Just lapping it up. And the Cats get that margin back to just the 1 point, 10-7-67. North Melbourne 10-8-68.
I think he might have hurt his hand there,
Just
actually.
holding the right wrist a little bit there,
Just
Stevie
as
J.
I said about no injuries tonight.
Doesn't look too worried. I think he's okay.
So 10 minutes gone. Final quarter here at Simonds Stadium. Great way to start your long weekend, watching a bit of footy.
Absolutely.
Of course, it's the NRL that's underway, isn't it? The NRL
Season opener,
it's sort of the week that the AFL has to sort of just endure of having nothing, and then they're into it next week. You can't wait for the real stuff to start. Petrie got the handball away. No, he didn't. Yes, I think the pre-season just does drag a little bit in the end, doesn't it?
It does. What do you think they'll do next year? Be similar format, 3 games for each club? Or would clubs be happy with 2?
Yeah, look, they wanted 3, so yeah, I think the AFL will wait and get all the feedback. But I think speaking to the AFL this week, they're pretty comfortable with it. I don't think it's been a massive publicity success, really.
No.
But it's not really what it's designed for. There's certainly been, a bit of footy. There's been lots of footy talk around. There's been footy stories. It's certainly, with the cricket, I suppose, it sort of shared the back pages, and we've seen all the pre-season profile pieces, and that'll just crank up over the next week or so. But it is a pity that we can't have another competition that actually means something. But it doesn't seem like we can. So here's Thurlow for Geelong, ripping one up to centre half forward. Murdoch looks most likely. Gets crunched in the pack. McCarthy came through, couldn't gather it. McMahon, steady as she goes. Harvey, the feedback was good, and not going to be paid. After McMillan sent it out to Gibson. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think from a publicity point of view, even though the NAB Cup old formula was a little bit long and a bit old, there was still something to play for at the end of the day. So the grand finals and the semi-finals were a little bit bigger, but I think from the club's point of view, it's not a bad system, and I think they'll keep it pretty similar next year.
Yeah, it's an interesting suggestion was made to me during the week as Mackie gets cornered and caught. North going forward again. 1 point the difference here. Nahas kicks it wide for McKenzie, but Enright can work those angles in his sleep. Takes the mark, brings it back into Thurlow. He's going to get 50, Enright. How would it be if the clubs were allowed 1 or none? No pre-season matches, and we just started as soon as March came. We just start with no practice matches.
I think most fans would be happy with that.
Only intra-club.
Yeah. Would clubs be happy with that?
Well, probably not, but they just have to get used to it.
You'd have 2 intra-clubs and 1 serious hit-out. That'd be fine.
I think the build-up and the excitement and the anticipation would be terrific. Guthrie turns it straight over, much to the disapproval of the crowd. Cats fans,
you're restless,
getting into this like it's a real thing. And it'd be interesting to see whether North have any consideration of the fact this is a close match, and do they want to win close match? Of course they want to win close matches this year. Do they take that into account here at all?
I'm sure they'd be trialling some systems for tight finishes, just retaining the ball, which was something they didn't do in those close games last year. They didn't really slow the games down, and they let the opposition in a few times.
Fairly adventurous kick just to maintain possession there from Wells, but he was able to pretty confidently trust his skills, although Boomer's kicked it out on the full. And Gibson, a little shake of the head. So Dawson Simpson gets a lead deep from Sheringham. It'll be a pretty courageous kick. He's gone for it. He's gone for the smaller player, but by the time the ball got there, Nathan Grimer had been able to cotton onto where it was headed. And he might have kicked it out in the full as well. Poor
Gibson.
Gibson had to twice shake his head at teammates, the customary head shake. Not the required distance, not that that'll bother Corey Enright. Just slips out of the tackle, and now Hansen came into the frame. Guthrie with the diligent spoil. Zeeble got it out of there. Full-chested, kicked it out the half back. Crowd urging Rivers on. And he was able to, with the adrenaline pumping, get the ball. Scoot it back to Stokes. So he misfires on the handball. Tried to wrap up Petrie in the tackle. They've got a few extra numbers. McKenzie goes for broke. Lovely long left footer for Wright. Played it very smartly, Wright, to his own advantage. Copped it high. And now Nahas, as Andrew Dimitro would say, was running down towards goal, but he goes short. And the big fella pops up, Curry.
Still a bit green, isn't he, Curry?
Yeah, thank you very much. And I thought he was quite red from running as he gets the ball off to McMahon. And that's come off the fingertips. 3 from behind.
A smart play by Wright before, wasn't it? He used his body beautifully. He's got a few tricks. So North by just the 2 points. Very wide ball there for Taylor Hunt, who slid in and took the mark right on the line in front of Nahas. So Taylor Hunt on defensive 50. Pretty crowded ahead of him, so he just chips a little one up. That is not a great kick at all. Should be marked by Thomas, but just got the one arm up in the end. Gathers, Tucks into the tackle. The umpire calls play on. Gathered by Varco, but he's wrapped up quickly. Zeeble got it to McMillan. Kicked to half forward. A good strong mark taken by Mackie. Now a bit of a wrestle on between Thomas and Caddy, and Thurlow coming in. The locals not liking that one too much. They finally dispersed as the ball goes towards Guthrie. He fumbled, in goes Murdoch. Back to Guthrie. We've got some numbers here. Varco can give it to Stokes, but well played from Scott Thompson. Good defending. The ball's still in front of the interchange gates. In goes McCarthy.
Just totting up a bit,
isn't it? A little bit of feeling.
Yeah.
And still comes in. So eventually, Murdoch wobbles one to half forward. Getting back there, though, it was Big Curry. Read it well. And he takes the mark inside defensive 50, or looking for Grimer, who did well.
Oh, was it an injury?
Good mark.
He's up.
Gibson.
Duncan.
Chip over the top to Hanson, or missed the target. It's scrappy the last minute or so. Still North by 2 points, but they should be able to clear through Grimer. He fumbles. The kick off the side of the boot might work out, and Mullet takes a good diving mark just behind the wing.
So Mullet, he was a good story last year. Really making that defensive position his own.
Taylor Hine started to sub. Haven't seen much of him.
I obviously haven't seen a lot of him. Saw him play a couple of nice games with the Gold Coast before he was picked up by North, though.
Play a bit of a tagging role.
He's from Rupertswood, from memory. Do you know where that is?
I think Glen Iris, isn't it? Is that? No, that's Bennettswood. Yeah. Rupertswood's in there. Is that north of Melbourne?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's down...
the side of the Ammos, don't they? Rupertswood?
Yeah, they might.
Yeah.
It's down sort of past Sunbury and Wood End sort of way. Into the 50. And, well, wealth of numbers for North. Mason Wood with the up and the under. They've had a few chances, North, haven't they, really?
They have.
This quarter. As Geelong have as well, but North probably had a few better opportunities.
Hasn't been too bad, Mason Wood.
No, he's been
Second-year
good.
player, found a bit of the footy.
Coming in as sort of the late replacement too. Sport's littered with those examples over the years, isn't it, of an injury or an illness, giving someone an opportunity and they take it and away they run. Rivers just had the body position there on Atley. He won't have the pace on him, he'll know that too. Wants a free, gets a free. 17 and a half gone. Rivers in quickly to Tommy Hawkins, just takes the mark. Murdoch, Thurlow, McIntosh are the targets, and Guthrie's deep as well. And McIntosh goes in a lead, which is interesting. I would have thought he might have been able to stay closer to goal. He tried to get it through, thread the needle through to Murdoch. Some pretty tired boys out there. Hurried kick out of there by Del Santo. And it's fumbled, not over the line by McMahon. Gained some more territory. Taylor Hunt comes up off the line. Whip the handball up. Rivers feeding it back. Duncan, stand start. A kick up to half forward. Decent packed form there. McIntosh in the middle of it. Caddy tries to use his strength to get out of there and very nearly did, but the Roos have got it covered. Del Santo with the aerodynamic haircut tonight. Didn't do his teammate any favours. He goes again. Here's Nahas. Bursting clear and kicking to the wing. Thomas has got himself in that situation a number of times tonight where his body's been in an awkward position, flying for a mark, and could have got himself injured if he's not careful. Into McMahon.
Yeah, got the arm chop there, Thomas. He's actually been pretty good after quarter time. He's been lively. He's kicked a goal. So he's Bastanak. One more for North might just about do it. That's a beautiful kick to half forward. Mark taken by McKenzie. Runs to 40 and makes no mistake. Beautiful passage of play from the Kangas. And McKenzie's done some nice things tonight. That's his second goal. And they're out to a game-high lead for the Roos of 9 points. 11-10-76. The Cats 10-7-67, which we just tick over 19 minutes in this final term.
They played the patience game with McKenzie. Played 2 games in 2012 after being picked 18. And then 10 in 2013. And now he looks like he's going to be in the close to being in their starting 22 at the start of the year.
Well, they still need a bit of class, don't they, North? And he looks like he's one player that's classy, moves well, nice left foot. So if you add him in, and also Del Santo obviously coming in, it's 2 classy midfielders potentially for the Roos.
I'm going to leave you to call the closing stages here. I'm going to beat the traffic, Jules. No, I'm actually going to go downstairs and have a chat.
You're going to Ripper Roast, don't you?
So I'm going to go to Ripper Roast, no doubt about that. I don't think it's still open though at this stage, Kev. But we'll watch the end of the game. We'll go and have a chat to the coach downstairs.
Beautiful. Thank you, Hutto. So 9-point lead for the Roos. So is there time enough for the Cats? As Mackey's got it at half-back. Just switches it wide. Taken by Lonigan. A little chip towards Stokes. Doesn't reach him. Good enough to get away. Gets it back to Mackey. Out wide to Duncan, whose little chip is a poor one. Plenty of tired players out there, as Hutto mentioned a couple of minutes ago. And it just trickles out of bounds in front of Josh Caddy. So 9-point lead to the Roos. Couple of goals piece to Wright, Petrie and McKenzie for the Roos tonight, while Tom Hawkins has 3 for the Cats. So Curry doing all the ruck work in this second half. Wins it down, and there's the siren. So good little win in the end for North Melbourne, running out 9-point winners. 11-10-76 to the Cats, 10-7-67. So the last quarter just ticking over 20 minutes. Maybe the Scots Twins got together and called it short. Here is the Kangaroos song. And just watching the players come together there, obviously a lot of love from the North Melbourne players towards Hamish McIntosh, who was probably one of the real good stories out of tonight. Hamish McIntosh, he kicked the goal, he moved really well, and he showed that if his body holds up, he can definitely be a good player for the Cats this year. Of course, did not play a game in his first year. Just look out going through the major goal kickers, and all the goal kickers, in fact, for North Melbourne, 2 apiece to Wright, Petrie and McKenzie, singles to Thomas, Del Santo, Thompson, Harvey and Mullet, while for the Cats, good signs again from Tom Hawkins, moved around really well, finished with 3 goals, as we mentioned. McIntosh kicked the goal, also Murdoch, Duncan, Guthrie, Hall and Smith, and Sheringham. In terms of the major ball winners for Geelong, Josh Caddy was very good all night with 24, 22 to Steve Johnson, 22 to Duncan, 21 to Kelly, and also Harry Taylor had 21. As let's go through a few more there as well. The stat sheet's just packed up here, Tommy. So there's the Roos, and also Cunnington was a very good player for North Melbourne tonight, had plenty of the footy. So both teams are just huddling on the ground. As we go through those stats again, let's have a look for North Melbourne. As we mentioned, Cunnington led the way with 26, 25 to Zeeble, 24 to Del Santo, 20 to Harvey, and 20 to Gibson, Wells and Ryan Bastanak, and 19 for McMillan. So you see the Cats players coming off the ground. Hutto's quickly got down there. He's got the Geelong polo on already, so he's showing his allegiances, and he's going to have a quick chat to the coach, Chris Scott, very shortly, as North Melbourne make their way off the ground after having a 9-point victory. Now, can we hear Hutto and Chris Scott here? Yep. So Hutto's having a chat to Chris Scott. So I don't think either coach will be too concerned tonight. No injuries, which is good news for both teams. Obviously, they've got a week off now before getting ready for their opening matches. So the Cats host Adelaide down here on Thursday night, March 20. We know what sort of record they've got down here at Simonds Stadium. Well, North, after a bit of an indifferent pre-season campaign today, a good win tonight, and they play Essendon, always a big game, and that's the following night on March 21 at Etihad Stadium. So hopefully all North Melbourne supporters get your memberships and get in for that game. It's always a huge game against probably your biggest rival in the Essendon Footy Club. But just repeating tonight, North Melbourne running out 9-point winners, 11-10-76. The Cats 10-7-67. Thank you for everyone for watching and listening on the websites of both Geelong Footy Club and North Melbourne. Enjoy the start of the season.